This episode of the WP Minute is brought to you by Pressable. You know what the best hosting feels like? Nothing. No panic alerts. No mystery downtime. No, hey, is the site down? Slack messages. That's the Pressable experience. WordPress hosting so reliable you forget it's even there. We keep your site fast, secure, and up 100% of the time, so you can get back to building, selling, blogging, or binging cat videos. No judgment, whatever you want to do. Go to Pressable.com/WP Minute and try hosting that disappears in all the right ways. Pressable.com/WP Minute. Pressable.com/WP Minute. Thanks, Pressable, for supporting the show. Justin Nealey, welcome to the WP Minute.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I have to clear the FCC rules. GoDaddy is a sponsor of the WP Minute. Thank you so much for you and your team for sponsoring that. But this conversation is not scripted or directed by GoDaddy by any measure. We're going to talk about Airo Site Builder. More importantly, we're going to talk about what Justin does at GoDaddy day to day. Principal Product Manager. What does that mean in your world?
It means I wear a lot of hats. I was working on Airo Site Designer. I lead kind of the direction and strategy of the product, and then working with my UX UI design team and my engineers and marketing and everyone else to drive the product forward. Folks have said, like, equate a product manager to a mini CEO. I don't necessarily like that, but I have all the responsibility and none of the power to get things done. A lot of influencing and begging and asking.
Yeah. GoDaddy, big organization. I've learned that over the years with Adam. I've known Adam for many years. He's in the WP Minute Slack, and he's sort of my point person, for sponsorship at the WP Minute. But he's really, and of course, Courtney Robertson, and sort of like open up our eyes to, what I'll say is a lot of criticism, not just for GoDaddy, but for any large organization. And I think what people lose sight of is, no matter what, in any large organization, it's just a lot of people. A lot of things, when things need to happen, there's just a lot of layers of human that one must go through to get stuff done. I haven't seen it done. I mean, I've seen it at 50-person companies, 100-person companies, where things take forever to get done. I can't imagine what it's like, in a larger organization. And that's not a slight. That's just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. In your world, you compound that on top of, let's say, WordPress, where also has human issues of getting things done. Why doesn't the full site editor do this? Why don't we have a block for that? Well, people have to go and develop this stuff. I would say that makes building unique products like Airo on top of an open source platform called WordPress double difficulty. If you could, in any way, could you illustrate what it's like to develop unique products on top of WordPress, which is this big open source beast?
Yeah, it's been a beast. I mean, working at a large company, you got to steer a ship going slowly. We have gotten a lot better at moving quicker and making decisions faster. That's probably the biggest roadblock, is just getting to a decision. Everyone has some valid points and there's all these different options, but we've got to be able to go fast and then pivot faster if we aren't in the right direction, which is what we've done with Site Designer more times than I can count, especially with the tech that gets unlocked. Like we're working on just getting more integrated into the WordPress experience. Really fell in love with the WordPress MCP plugin tool. Now that's deprecated, and now it's the MCP adapter and the abilities API coming that we'll need to integrate with. So it's trying to just juggle all the things while still making progress forward. There's no perfect answer. It's just gotta be flexible and be okay with throwing away code.
Yeah. It's Airo is leveraging everyone's favorite acronym these days, AI. I mean, I want to get to that in a moment. But it's also leveraging, at least from our experiments, some of the other, what I'll call GoDaddy WordPress technology, with air quotes, like co-blocks and the theme. When you are a product manager, let's say for Airo, how do you account for, we have to use we have to use WordPress technology that we've already built and incorporate that all together. Like, how do you get that cohesiveness in such a big organization and for such a big endeavor that Airo is?
Yeah, I don't know if it was as big as that. I mean, we've definitely wanted to stick close to core as much as possible. And it has unlocked a lot. Like, we've thought about potentially like having flexibility to work with other builders, but really made a decision of like Gutenberg first. Let's see what we can do with basically what the future of WordPress is. Full site editing unlocks a ton with the templates. There's some stuff missing that we're working around with AI generating. AI doesn't fully know Gutenberg blocks and all the full site editing stuff yet, so something we have to tackle. Co-blocks, we've only implemented a little bit just to fill in some of the gaps like forms and icons. And that's pretty much it for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's really just, I think the biggest hurdle was getting our engineers that knew the GoDaddy system and the GoDaddy ecosystem, now learning how to work with AI and becoming WordPress experts and how to work with those together. It's just been trial and error.
Put you on the hot seat for just a second. I'm curious how you think about, like, AI is just like you mentioned, like we went from one MCP plugin to the next, and like, I don't know, felt like 48 hours. This stuff is moving at an insanely fast rate. And like, also you mentioned LLMs might not be 100% on how to develop with Gutenberg yet. Have you thought about, the big thing in WordPress is whatever, 5 for the future, giving back to WordPress, contributing to core. Have you thought about how you take all of this knowledge of AI and give that back to the WordPress community as you all build and experiment with this stuff? Even if it's just knowledge of, tried this, it didn't work, here's what we did and what didn't work. Like, have you thought about giving back at that capacity at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. We have a few folks working and being close. Like Evan has been one of the closest to a lot of stuff bridging the gap between the AI and MCP. We're doing a couple things within or internally to try to get the MCP stuff working that we want to contribute back to the platform, and just trying to stay more in tune. I don't know that we have any direct findings yet. We have a lot of stuff that doesn't work that we can probably definitely share. And we're getting closer to figuring out like how to really work with the LLM system and creating these different tools. And I've even most recently given back to the playground and opened up a few PRs for the first time. So we're definitely trying to keep that top of mind. Of course, we can't give away all the secret sauce, but there's definitely should be stuff that should be shared across that can help every WordPress user, no matter if it's a GoDaddy customer or if it's you or whoever else.
Yeah,
definitely sure. Top of mind for us.
What is the most exciting? I mean, obviously, aside from Airo, and I know you'd be biased about it, but like, what's the most exciting thing for AI and WordPress for you? Like, when you look at putting these two technologies together, what is the most exciting part with AI and WordPress for you right now?
Yeah, I think it starts to, like, the biggest hurdle with WordPress that I've seen, and I'm sure other folks have seen too, is a new user getting started. Like, going into the WordPress dashboard, that used to be the easiest experience against other experiences that were available years ago. Now, not so much. It's pretty overwhelming. AI makes that super easy. If I can say, hey, I need to set up a booking solution and add it to this page, I don't have to figure out, all right, go to plugins and find something that can do that. And then I have to figure out how to configure that. Then I have to figure out how to put that on the page and then make sure it works. AI eventually is going to be able to help us do that and accomplish and bridge those gaps and just get people sped up faster while showing them how to do it themselves. So it's not like a lovable where they're net new code and now they're left with a code base they can't manage. It's like, we've strung along these solutions and you're left with WordPress and you can manage it.
Yeah. And even understanding, I tried when WordPress.com launched their AI builder, whatever, X amount of months ago. And I tried it out. I was like, okay, great. Like, we can build some pages, thumbs up. But what's most interesting to me, kind of like what you just said with AI, is helping people understand why AI actually even made the decisions that it made. I spend a lot of time in a platform called Replit, building out some, things that I like to kind of play with. And their new Agent 3 is nice because it's a lot more verbose and telling you like why it's doing what it's doing. Still not getting it right all the time. Still might not be working the way, they promised right. V3 was going to work. But I do appreciate the fact that as somebody who's a non-developer, even especially in like JavaScript, I have learned a ton from developing in AI, say in React, because these tools are explaining to me as it's building. I ask it to make something, it's adding a database table, it's telling me why it's doing that, telling me why it's using a package on the front end, and I guess so long as you're reading it, it's a great education process. I'd love to see that some brand new user who builds a homepage and says, this is why we use the hero block. What does a hero block mean to you in your site design? What does this call to action button mean? It means people might buy from you when they click it. And those are things that people just don't know. Brand new people to building a site just don't know. And that's the kind of opportunity I would like to see as well.
Yeah, the thinking has been huge, just getting that quick understanding. Like when we, in our current rewrite, we're essentially making a new version of our Airo Site Designer that we've just recently launched. It's pretty exciting, but like something as simple as installing a plugin, asking or just going through the thought process of why we installed a certain plugin and then dropping them on the plugins page to show them, hey, this is where you go to manage the plugins, and then taking them to the next stage of all right, here's where you go to configure it. So it's not just, hey, we did it all, go have no idea what you're doing. It's taking them along on the journey, and then they can manage themselves so they're not overly reliant on AI. It's a companion, not a replacement.
Yeah, for sure. There's another question on AI before we get to more in depth on the Airo stuff. Curious, how do you leverage, besides coding, how do you leverage AI, if at all, for this kind of role, right? For being a product manager, what are you doing with AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever you're using, to help with those day-to-day tasks? And I'll caveat with this, to be honest, I'm right in the middle still with AI. I'm building stuff, I'm oh, this is really cool. And then everyone's it's coming for your jobs. And if I work with it to make a blog post, I'm you still can't get this right. We're still not, you don't understand the knowledge that I have in a particular space or category. I don't see it yet. Yet everyone's telling me that, we're all doomed because of this stuff. How do you leverage it in your day-to-day task? Is it really doing that much for you? And what are your general thoughts in that space?
Yeah, I think I'm 80% AI at this point. Okay. As much as I use it, I've even started to test out Perplexity's new comment browser for the agentic browsing. Been using it for some end-to-end testing for me. So I'm hey, go through this flow and then map out all the bugs and weird stuff that you've seen. But it does a good enough job summarizing big long threads between all the people working on a specific thing, just getting that quick recap, getting early drafts of strategies kind of together. A lot of research is probably the biggest thing that I use it for, at least these days, using either Perplexity or ChatGPT's deep research. I'm just going in, give me a pain point of a new user for WordPress. And it'll go in, find a bunch of relevant resources that I would have found eventually, and then summarized it. And I could take it a step further. But I see it as giving me a head start, and not necessarily the final result. So it's still me at the end of the day.
Matt Mullen brought up something interesting at his keynote at WordCamp US, where he talked about these agentic browsers like Comet, where he said imagine a scenario where you're just asking the browser to build pages in WordPress because it understands the Gutenberg blocks. I thought that was rather interesting, and I took to task my Comet as well, and it just did not do it. It was, I was please run. And I was Matt just said this, please do it, and it was just we can't. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't do anything. So I've only experimented just a little bit with Comet, and it's nice to have that. I wish I could use more of it, I guess, essentially is what I'm trying to say. I wish I could find a pure use case for Comet every day. Maybe testing is a great place to start. Maybe that's something I should look at.
Yeah, I try to make it a goal of whatever I'm doing, trying to use AI to do it first. And most of the time it doesn't work, but it's a lot of experimenting and learn by doing, not by reading. Most of the other use cases may not work for me, but I'll find something random that is oh, cool, that shaves off 15 minutes on my day. Compound that's a ton of time.
Is that an internal directive at GoDaddy for folks to learn and explore AI?
Oh, yeah. So we have these things called boulders at the company where it's these big company-wide initiatives. Leveraging AI is one of our boulders and company initiatives. We have our own internal AI systems that we can and chat with and interact with. We have our own tools. They want, I forget what the percentage of code generated by AI, at least to start, and just figure out use cases and share what you know, so the entire company could upskill.
Yeah. What's your favorite LLM to work with?
Oh gosh, it depends on the use case.
What a wild statement to ask in the year 2025.
I mean, I've been all in on Claude Code, just creating some like random ideas and thoughts. I've been testing out GPT-5 Codex model that just released a couple days ago. It's pretty great. And it's verbose, like you were saying, where it'll talk through a lot of the thinking, so I understand what it's doing along the way. And does more than just coding. I'll have it do some of the strategy and other context using something like, I forget the file system MCP, so it has access to all my files. So I give it some extra context of what I'm working on, and it does great.
Yeah. I haven't played with Codex yet. It was on my to-do list. I was away on vacation when like the big hype cycle came up about it. And you know, these days it's like we got weeks to try it before like something else comes out. But is their Codex a competitor to Cursor? Is it an IDE in that sense where you just boot it up and you're working, or is it all just like command line based?
So Codex has 3 options of using it, either through cloud, through GPT, or it'll access like a GitHub repo and go against it. It does CLI, and it's integrated in an IDE. So there's a Codex extension that you can install on like either Visual Studio Code or even Cursor, and then use it in conjunction with it.
In conjunction with that. Yeah, cool. Let's talk about Airo. We did a cover story on it, and that'll be linked up in the show notes. I know Airo is more than just one thing. Can you give us that elevator pitch of what Airo is so the folks can understand the many facets of Airo? And I'm not spoiling anything, but Adam has told me there's some future things coming, which are also included with that Airo, what I'll call branding or umbrella. So what is Airo to you today?
Oh gosh, I probably should have prepared this with the team. I mean, Airo is everything that we do at GoDaddy related to AI, but also just optimizing a user's business. So it's powered by AI for the most part, optimized by internal tools, and all connected, or at least it's working towards that path. So we have like our Airo website builder, we have our Airo site designer for WordPress, we have our Airo logo generator, all these different solutions solving these jobs to be done for our customers. So Airo is basically everything you could do at GoDaddy, leveraging AI to do it faster.
Nice. And is it fair to say that site designer is, I guess, the current module in that, or the current sub-product in that site? How does Airo Site Designer stand out, I guess, from the rest of it?
Yeah. So we have a couple different AI builders today. We have our Airo Website Builder for our GoDaddy proprietary website builder solution. Then we have Airo Site Designer for WordPress. We're really great at naming things sometimes. We are working on creating a more unified system so a user can go in and say, here's what I'm trying to accomplish, here's what I'm trying to do, and then we just get them on the best path forward. So there's not this whole confusion. And I'm owning the WordPress track. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your business. We'll ask you some questions, and we'll generate the first version, and you can iterate and ask for like, hey, change this color, add some more content, let it get people a quicker start. I mean, it's really no different than like choosing a template. It's just a lot more personalized and created for you. And we're just getting started with a lot of the cool stuff that has been unlocked by technology that's come out in the recent weeks, if not a couple of months here.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, my day job is at Gravity Forms. I'm on the WordPress community side of it, marketing side of it, but because I'm a WordPress. I've been using Gravity Forms since, 15 years ago, and since almost the beginning. And I provide a lot of feedback back to the product team. I talk to a lot of people. I bring that stuff back. How does, at GoDaddy's size, and I'm just curious, like, how do you funnel feedback to such a cutting edge piece of technology that AI is? Like, how do you get that feedback back from the end user who's like, I'm trying to talk to this thing and it's not giving me the site that I want? Like, how do you bring that back in a cohesive way?
Yeah, so a couple different avenues. I mean, the simplest form is we have an exit survey. So either you leave the experience or you finish it, you can drop your comment in. We have a Slack channel with between, gosh, I think there's a couple hundred people in there now that have been working on the project or touching it or just want to keep eyes on it. Daily, that feedback comes in. So we see what people are talking about every day. We have full story sessions so we can go in and watch what happened to those interactions so we can really dive in and dig in to see what's going on. So that's a big piece is just the survey feedback. We have a link on the exit survey so they can set up a meeting with me so we can just talk about their experience. I give them an Amazon gift card for their time and just to get that visual experience or visible feedback immediately of, hey, you just went through this. You either gave us a great score or a negative score. Let's talk about it. Like we're finding that after a user generates their first version of their site, they're just continuing and they don't know that they can keep asking for edits, even though the chat message says it. So we're implementing something to say, hey, don't go, like tell us what else you want. Just getting that quick feedback in. And then our design team does user testing and gosh, we have so many different things that we do to just keep the customer top of mind and really try to build for them the best way we can.
Kind of just thinking off the cuff here, but like when you ask a question or if you ask something of, ChatGPT, if you're in the native browser of ChatGPT and then it gives you two responses and it says, which one do you want? Have you considered like designing two different websites and saying, which one do you want? Or is that like going to be a native thing anyway? It's just like, we're going to give you a bunch of variations. You just pick.
It's on the roadmap. We have, we're going to be generating in the new version, like 3 different, essentially homepages. In WordPress, you get to kind of pick from and choose your almost template or style. But if you're going and building and you're like, wait, I actually liked option 2. Could I go back to that? We have it all saved. We just switch out your style, switch out the sections. Content stays the same. Yeah, definitely top of mind. Because people with AI, we've learned that they like the quickness, but they still want to feel like they're in control and have a say in their site. Yes. So we want to start to let them figure out that balance of like what's enough control versus letting AI do the job versus where they want to kind of dip their toes in.
I guess that's like the native advantage that AI provides. And what I think everybody's looking forward to is you could even not prevent, you could come before that exit survey, you could preempt that survey by maybe training AI to be like, what do you think? Was this useful for you? Was this, do you like the image that we put here? Yes or no? And you could kind of actually, it's weird to say because everything is so, binary right now. It's like yes or no, move to the next step. This thing, AI, could be actively prompting the user, not only explaining it, but getting that satisfaction level.
Yep.
And even in a longer term time frame, like a week, a month, a year goes by, AI can go and start asking the user, is this site working for you? Like you designed this 6 months ago. Is it time to think about maybe adding another product page, adding that blog post, like doing a thing that's going to move the business forward? I think that's one advantage there. I mean, no direct question, but sort of just thinking about it like as a whole, like how it can help customers.
Yeah, get out of my head. No, it's definitely top of mind. Like we have a simple like thumbs up, thumbs down or responses, and when the site's generated. But we kind of want to take that a step further. We're implementing evals is the big thing with AI right now. So not only like did it generate the block correctly, but the content in the block, did it pass what the score is we give it? Is it relevant? Did the user actually continue with it? So we can start to train our AI better over time. And then bringing this into not just site creation, but site editing after you launch your website for that ongoing of, hey, here's your traffic. Here's what's working. Here's what's not. Here's what's trending. Here's what you might want to consider implementing. We have the page ready for you. Do you want to make it go live?
Yeah. Without giving away the secret sauce, the question that comes to my mind from your sort of business operations side is, well, here's the direct question. Is GoDaddy building their own LLM or refining their own LLM for this kind of product? Or does GoDaddy like rely on, okay, we've got ChatGPT and we model everything off ChatGPT with 20% of our secret sauce, but if ChatGPT gets better, then our solution gets better? Or does GoDaddy at that size just say, nah, we can build our own, maybe base it off an open source LLM and then enhance it there? A dodgy question, but what can you answer in on that side of things?
We're definitely leveraging what's available. I don't think that we have plans of creating our own. That's a whole big thing that gets away. Like, we just want to help customers build their stuff. We are working on implementing, like, kind of with the eval system of, hey, what's the best LLM for this request? Yeah. Sometimes it's GPT-5, sometimes it's Claude, sometimes it's Gemini, sometimes it's Grok, sometimes it's something else. So we can start to like really like interject of like, based on this, like we know this one excels and it's quick. So we'll be starting to test around and figure that out. But it's all optimizing, kind of the question you asked me earlier, like, what's your LLM of choice? Like, it depends on the task. Research, I love Perplexity. Making my Slack responses better, I love ChatGPT to make me sound smarter.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see, which is a weak statement, but I'm interested to see where WordPress and AI goes. Of course, with tooling from, folks like you at GoDaddy, it's that sort of, what I'll say, that top layer, top to interior layer of WordPress to a degree that you can prompt it to help you ideate with WordPress. You can prompt it to help you move things around in WordPress or create content in WordPress. I wonder if you have any thoughts on this. Like, the thing I'm really watching for and waiting for is, how does core WordPress integrate with AI? Because to me, I'm not seeing a lot of advancements. I follow a lot of stuff on Hugging Face, and which is, for folks who've never heard of that before, I'll call it the GitHub of LLMs, which is 50,000 foot view. But essentially, it's open source, what I'll call open source AI. And WordPress is a flagship, if not the flagship, open source application for humanity, maybe besides the Linux kernel, in my opinion. How WordPress core integrates to AI is a big decision, I think. Yep. And I'm just curious if you have any thoughts of, like, do you ever see WordPress core needing to have, like, paste your OpenAI API key right here, inside of an options page? Or is it more about, no, make the code sane and documented and open, and then let the LLMs do whatever they need to do to WordPress? Essentially, do we need AI in core WordPress, whatever that means?
Yeah, probably the latter. I mean, to go on the open source track, if that were the case, I mean, these local LLM models are getting better and smaller. Eventually, it might just be a local LLM packaged in core that does a good enough job for most things. But I think it's the layering on top and making sure that LLMs understand WordPress and Gutenberg and core and can interact with it. The MCP adapter and the Abilities API, for folks that don't know, I think will start to unlock a lot. So the Abilities API is built for theme developers and plugin developers, with saying, so we'll say WooCommerce example, hey, LLMs, here's how to interact with my plugin. Here's all my tool calls. Here's how to do all the things. So now I can just say, Claude, here's my WordPress site. Add a new product. Set this thing up. Set my shipping rates to this. I don't need to teach Claude how to do that. WordPress or WooCommerce has already added that to the Abilities API, telling it how to do all the things. So that's going to be really huge as more and more plugins and themes adopt that practice.
I want to vent for a second. I vented about MCP when MCP was getting all the hype X amount of months ago. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to replace the API, the REST API and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, it's just another layer where, for instance, we all have to play nice in this MCP space. Well, there's this MCP space, and then there's that MCP space, and there's that MCP space over there. And I just see it as it's just another thing where a company can go, yeah, you can get access to this, but, only for this many requests. And actually that response is going to be, filtered in some. I just see it as even more potential control that's a lot more vague than we're only going to give you 10,000 API requests per month. Like what Twitter did, or Twitter shut it down or whatever, or now you're going to pay like $1 zillion to get access to unfiltered API responses. I just see MCP as like just making it even more cloudy and more messy. I like the idea of it. And maybe it's just so far early on, like we haven't seen it mature, but I'm just like, is this really it? What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on MCP?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited with the WordPress MCP plugin and having the MCP server actually hosted on the WordPress site. I thought that was super cool. Like, you didn't need that extra access or the extra server to have to pass through. Now deprecated, so we had to figure out that whole system. In theory, like you don't have to create agents that know how to interact with the REST API. Like it just does it. Yeah. But now we have to figure out where these MCP servers live, and that costs money to somebody. Mm-hmm. It's not free unless someone comes up with that locally or WordPress hosted solution again that is secure, which is what the big issue was.
Yeah.
I don't know. In theory, it unlocks a lot. I know internally we use MCP a lot to interact with different products inside of GoDaddy. But externally, it's a whole different ballgame of how we keep things secure and not cost a ton.
It makes you wonder if like everyone has their own website. Maybe everyone has their own MCP server. And maybe in the future, GoDaddy is a place where you can go get an MCP server for your stuff. Here's all my information. Here's how I want you to react to me, or here's how I'll respond to you. And I host my own MCP at GoDaddy for $5.99 a month. Like other AIs will just come in and like chat with that, and I'll give access to it. And it's anyway, it's a bit of a soapbox. Yeah, it's a bit of a soapbox moment, but the MCP stuff, I'm still, like most things, not sold on it until I can see like true open adoption, right? Like everyone thought RSS was the smartest thing, and I also agree it's the smartest thing, but every social media platform killed it because it was just a free way for people to distribute content. And they were like, whoa, no, you must distribute content in our silo. And then to reach everyone, you must pay us advertising dollars so that you can boost this post to get access to it. And it's like, I could have just given them my RSS feed. And then they could have just subscribed to it, but that's a whole other ball of wax. Airo Site Designer. We check out the spread on the WP Minute, exploring GoDaddy's Airo Site Designer, written by Eric Karkovac. He also has a walkthrough demo of his experience, which Justin will be happy to know. Thumbs up from Eric Karkovac. Justin, anywhere else you want folks to go to explore and learn more about this, or to explore and learn more about you, or both?
Just the GoDaddy blog, godaddy.com/resources. We have a bunch of stuff on there related to Airo Site Designer, and there's other related info on running your business. But yeah, we have a lot of cool things coming. I'll have an updated changelog. I don't have a URL for it yet. Of just we're essentially trying to put ourselves out of business before somebody else does, and we have this new version of Site Designer coming out in about a month with a lot of other cool iterations with it, sticking to core and WordPress. And then we'll also look to see how we can start to give back a bit more than we already do.
The next event you'll be at, maybe WordCamp US in your hometown?
Definitely there. I'll be at Vistara at the end of the month up in Denver, which is an agency-type summit conference, which is pretty cool. And then, probably WordCamp US for sure. It's just in my backyard.
I have not heard of that one. I should know these things. For agencies, you say?
Yes.
Cool.
I'll send you a link.
Sweet. Yeah. Look for Justin there. We'll get that link in the show notes as well. If not, see him at WordCamp US. Everybody else, the WPMinute.com, the WPMinute.com/subscribe to join the newsletter. It's the number one way to stay connected. See you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to the WP Minute, part of the Matt Report Media Network. This episode wouldn't be possible without our amazing pillar sponsors, Pressable, Kinsta, GoDaddy, 20i, and Elementor. These brands are supporting WordPress media and helping us invest in your future as a WordPress professional. Our Foundation Plus sponsors like Hostinger, Big Scoots, Stellar WP, Personalized WP, Weglot, and Patchstack help us keep the lights on. Thanks to all of our members in the WP Minute Slack channel, which you can join too. Head on over to the WPMinute.com/support to get access. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit the share button or tell a friend about this podcast. See you in the next one.